Welcome to workout from home number 30 here at 4 Bells Fitness Emporium. Can you believe we've been at this for 10 weeks now? 10 weeks working out from home. Fantastic work to all of you who've been keeping up with your workouts, those of you who've been joining us on Zoom, or those of you who just messaged to ask us about our workouts. Thank you for joining us, we really appreciate it. Let's talk about what we are up to today. Another glorious upper body day in our guts and butts cycle. So you're going to notice there's not only going to be a focus on upper body pressing today, but also a lot of focus on the abs as well. So from here, we're going to start with our warm-up. We're going to start with our shoulder circles. We're going to go over a few different variations of the shoulder circles. From there into a tabletop, one of our 4 out of 5 rides of Tibetan yoga, a great shoulder opening exercise. And then a stretch for the lats. If you have done a lot of pulling like we did on Monday, workout number 28, you might have some tight lats. Also, it's going to affect your overhead position when we do some pressing today as well. So when it comes to our warm-up, we're doing 3 rounds. Pretty straightforward. Shoulder circles are really going to depend on what you have available and what kind of space you have. You have space overhead. Am I going to be standing up, kneeling down? Let's keep it simple to start off with. A few variations could be hand on the chest and just going through some very simple controlled articulate rotations, what is known as a CAR in the chiropractic world. It could be both arms going back together. It could be both arms going forwards. It could be one arm forwards, one arm backwards, and then of course reversing that. We could do one across, one backwards. There's tons of different variations. What I would say is pick one and do it for about 30 seconds. What we're trying to do is just get some of the stiffness out of the shoulder joint. From there, in our tabletop, as always, I'm going to sit down in my L-sit position, hands by the hips. Don't want the fingers forwards, to the side or back. Entirely up to you how you want to do this. I'm going to press into the floor, hips come up to the ceiling into a tabletop position. As I come down, bum scoots through the hands, and I come up into the next rep. So you're going to find with the tabletop, maybe it's the pecs that are tight that's going to stop you getting up to the ceiling. Maybe it's the hip flexors being tight. Maybe it's the hamstrings. Whatever it is, try and fight through it and try and increase that range of motion across those 10 reps. Last but not least, with our lat stretch today, all I need is a post. Post to be handy. If I don't have a post, the corner of a wall, it doesn't have to be fancy, just something that I can kind of get my hand to hold on to. Could even be a door handle. From here, I'm going to imagine I have a gun holster, like I'm a gunslinger from the Old West. I take my hand, come from the hip, straight onto the post. I'm going to walk backwards and allow my chest to come down as I push the hips back and try and get that big stretch down the lats. From here, if this is pretty easy, I'm going to take, if I'm holding on my left hand, I take my left leg, step that guy back, and I can play around with head position, play around with the hips, and try and find the lat stretch that feels the most spicy for me. So it's going to be about 30 seconds of shoulder circles, excuse me, from there to tabletop for 10 reps, and then about 30 seconds per arm of a lat stretch. We are doing that for 3 rounds today. The strength piece for workout number 30 is quite straightforward. A lot of upper body pressing. It is an upper body pressing day. And also some sneaky ab work in there as well. We are going to do 5 sets, where each set is 4 minutes and 30 seconds long, split into 3 90-second windows of time. So I'm not trying to do all 3 in 90 seconds. That would be crazy and probably impossible. I'm spending 90 seconds on each one of these 3 stations. So in my first 90 seconds, I'm going to do a Z press, a movement we haven't done at the gym for a very, very, very long time. And we are going to be doing Z presses for 45 seconds. We're going to talk about how that's going to work in just a second. From there into my second 90-second window of time, it's going to be push-ups today. Fairly wide rep scheme, which is me looking at somewhere between 10 and 20 reps. So I would say the breadth of that rep scheme is really going to depend on your experience level and your strength and muscular endurance when it comes to the push-up. Last but not least, plank on the elbows. We do a lot of planking on the hands. Today we're going to try and take some of the shoulder out of it, and we're just going to do some planks on the elbows for 45 seconds. So let's talk about those 3 exercises. With the Z press, we're going to be sitting on the floor. So you don't need a bench or anything fancy, all you need is the floor. And ideally, in an ideal world, all you need is 2 light dumbbells. So as I've said today, we're doing 45 seconds. So there is no prescribed amount of reps. but what we are trying to do is move for 45 seconds straight. So if you have a barbell, this can be done with a barbell. If you have 2 kettlebells, it can be done with 2 kettlebells. I'm using 2 dumbbells here because they're very convenient and close to me, so I'm going to use these guys. The idea is that because I'm sitting on the floor with the leg extended, that there is no sneaky help from the lower body. It also means that I have to really pay a lot of attention of keeping tension through the core. I can't allow my torso to be flopping around. I've got to keep the abs tight, keep that rib cage down in a nice brace position. So what I'm going to do is have my dumbbells on my shoulders, and I'm just going to press overhead for 45 seconds, non-stop if I can. Take as many, well, not as many, take as few breaks as possible when it comes to that Z press. From there into our push-ups, whatever push-up variation works best for you, play around with the rep scheme depending on what your level is. So, if you are like new to having a push-up, you've got 1 or 2 on the floor, don't make it feel like you can't do that. You still want to work on that strength skill, but obviously realize that 10 will be too many. So feel free to mix and match scaling options. So that could be if I have like 3 push-ups, I could do 3 push-ups on the floor and then maybe go and do 7 on a box or some stairs and mix it up. If I'm very advanced at push-ups, maybe I'm thinking, well, I'm going to try and do all 5 sets with 20 reps. Maybe if regular push-ups are easy, maybe I'm going to do diamond style. So of course, play around with it, knowing that there is a pre-fatiguer in the form of Z presses before that. Either way, however I'm doing my push-ups, stairs, box, whatever it is, elbows nice and close as I do my beautiful push-ups. Last but not least, our plank on the elbows, not on the hands. I like to create a little triangle between my elbows and my hands, pull my elbows down towards my toes, squeeze the butt, squeeze the legs, brace the abs as hard as possible, and we're going to do that for 45 seconds today. So Z press for 45 seconds today. Then it's going to be push-ups, somewhere between 10 and 20 depending on your skill level. And last but not least is a plank on the elbows for 45. That is our strength piece today. The conditioning piece for workout number 30, fairly straightforward. We are going to do 4 rounds of these 3 1-minute stations. In each minute, we are going to be doing 45 seconds of work, followed by a 15-second transition on to the next station. So in station number 1, we're going to be doing plank ups. We'll talk about how to do those, but all you really need is a mat. Try and protect your elbows as you come up and down from the elbow to the hand. From there, it's an ab wheel rollout. Maybe you have an ab wheel, maybe you have dueling ab wheels, maybe you have a foam roller. All of those things can work for our ab wheel rollouts. Last but not least, the Russian twist. We're looking to work on rotation whilst keeping a braced core. So let's talk about all 3 of those things. With the plank up, great abdominal exercise, as well as a very spicy shoulder and tricep exercise. As you can see, here's my little station of fitness. All the things are set up and ready to go for our workout today. I don't need much, but I do need a few things. So I'll probably need a mat, ab wheel, maybe a weight for Russian twists. Either way, when it comes to the plank up, I'm going to start in my plank position, and I know I have a habit of like smashing my elbow into the floor when I get tired. So if you know that happens to you too, then make sure you've got something squishy to protect your elbows. I'm going to come from my plank position, and I'm just going to bring the elbow down. So it'll be elbow, elbow, hand, hand. Next I start with the other elbow. Elbow, elbow, hand, hand. As I do this, I'm just trying to mitigate too much wiggle through the hips. So try to keep the hips as still as possible as we come through our plank ups. When we come into an ab wheel rollout, again, something to protect the knees is nice. And ideally, I want the knees maybe 3 or 4 inches away from the edge of the mat. When I've got my ab wheel directly underneath my shoulders, I'm trying to have that hollow body position. So I'm trying to brace the abs. A cue that I use is to round the low back, but really what I want to think about is just bracing the abs as hard as possible. And then the sequence is hips first, then arms come out, and then arms come in, and hips come back in. So making sure it's hips first, then arms, and then hips. If an ab wheel is not available to you, then you can use a foam roller. I actually say with the foam roller, much more challenging. All I have to do is slowly walk it out, still keeping the abs tight, and then when I get to extension, slowly walk myself back in. I would actually say with the foam roller, much harder than the ab wheel, because I have to put so much more pressure down on the ground to stabilize, which in turn makes it harder for the foam roller to move. When it comes to our Russian twist, I'm going to sit in almost like a tuck V-up boat pose from yoga kind of position. Balancing on the bum, feet off the floor, bracing the abs tight. I slowly rotate from one side to the other. So I am looking from wall to wall. What I see a lot of is this. So make sure that you're not just flopping your arms around, we're bracing the abs as hard as possible as I rotate from one side to the other. So 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. We're doing those 3 stations, plank ups, ab wheel roll ups, and Russian twists. We're doing those for 4 total rounds. Good luck.